Hello, or should we say Guten Morgen, Guten Abend, alles klar, alles gut. Those are German greetings, and I want to greet all of you who are watching me at whatever point that you're watching me. I wanted to discuss just something small about what has happened in Germany just the other day when they had elections. Many of you might know, might not know, the Chancellor, who's right now sitting at the helm, Olaf Scholz, called for an abrupt election, of which his party, SPD, was defeated by the party that was ruling before him, that is the CDU or CSU, this Christian Democrats Union. But what came out as very interesting in these elections is the fact that the far left, what people are calling the far right, sorry, not the far left, they are associated with a lot of extremism. In fact, they have cases in the German courts where they have been associated with Nazi and Nazism. There's a party called AFD, Alternative for Deutschland, an extreme right organization led by a lady called Alice, who's married to a Sri Lankan lady, and who has got two homes, one in Switzerland and one in Germany. Everybody is talking about AFD because of their political inclinations and the fact that they have gained so much ground, getting 21% of the electoral votes in the German Bundestag has made everybody now look at the German elections, including the immediate former Olaf Scholz, who said this must have been one of his worst nightmares. But anyway, let us look at what happens in Germany now. The SPD is being led by Friedrich Merz. He's a lawyer who's got a license to fly, a piloting license, and has been in some leadership for some time. His policies are pro-Europe. He has a soft spot for the Ukraine, and he wants Germany to reclaim its ownership of being the superpower, the supreme in the European Union. He has hinted budgetary spending on military. Germany and militarism has had a love-hate relationship. During the First World War that ended in 1918, the League of Nations sanctioned Germany, whose army was potentially huge, to some limits and sanctions. So the Germans were operating within what the German people themselves were not proud of being. They felt they were isolated. They felt they were discriminated with other European countries. But they were taking the brand and saying this is our blame. The Second World War was started by a gentleman called Hitler, who reawakened the German nationalism, the German side, and got the political fiefdom. And he violated all the sanctions that were given to him by the European nations, the League of Nations. And he got the largest army. And he felt that he would need to conquer the whole of Europe. and he started invading all of Europe. Britain and England survived by a whisker due to propaganda. His downfall came from the Russian side. Initially, Russia were his allies, but he went there against the wishes of his generals. And during winter, most of the German soldiers and the system that they had, which was efficient, collapsed, leading to his downfall. And the Russians took the revenge and came in to replace Hitler with a transitional government. Immediately after that, Germans now are very shy to express their militarism. They're very shy to express their defense power. But it is the largest nation in Europe. So when Friedrich Marsh says he's gonna take that back, it is also understandable that he's coming from a background where he has been coerced by the US president, the US presidency, which had a say in the German elections. Elon Musk attended virtually the AfD party and urged them to take the power. Elon Musk speaks. Germany feels it is Trump and America that have spoken. So Friedrich Mark went for Ukraine. AfD was pro-Russia. So now, a lot was being played during the electioneering period. But key to those things were, how does Germany relate to Europe? How does Germany relate to the power of military? How does Germany relate to immigration? This was a very huge thorn. Before Olaf Scholz, there was Angela Merkel. Just before she left, there were two things that happened to Germany. One, they banned the nuclear power, and they were now 100% relying on the gas from Russia to keep their energy levels and energy needs, because now the nuclear power was banned, and the coal mining as well was banned in Germany. Other thing that made Angela Merkel politic have an impact in Germany was the immigration issue. She opened up the German boundaries, especially to the Syrian refugees, who are so many, and urged that the whole of Europe accommodates the Syrian refugees, which is a crisis, as Syria was deep in civil war. There has been a lot of problems emanating from that conversation of immigration. AfD rode on that. One of its policy was, when they get power, everybody who is not a German by immigration, who is not a German by historical roots, is going to be chased away from Germany. So it was a political hotbed, the immigration issue. Remember what happened in America when Trump got into power? What he did? Hence the dalliance of Elon Musk to the AfD. AfD was very strict, very straight with that, what it was going to do. But SPD And CDU were trying to approach it from a different kind of level. Anyway, let's go back to Friedrich Mark. It is Friedrich Mark that everybody is looking at this moment because he is the man who heads the CDU, who leads the CDU party, CDU CSU, and which got majority votes at 28 point something percent, followed by AFG. Then the third was now SPD, led by Olaf Scholz. Naturally, CDU and AFD would never form a coalition. CDU would only form a coalition with SPD and probably the Greens just to make their numbers. What happens in German parliament is that you have to attain a threshold of the majority of votes for you to actually make political decisions for the country. For the last, I don't know how many, 20 or so years, that has not been possible. They have all been ruling Germany by form of coalition. Angela Merkel did it. Olaf Scholz did it. In fact, that is what brought problems with Olaf Scholz, because they had a coalition which is called the traffic light, the SPD, the FDP, and the Greens. That is the red, green, and yellow. But as they were practicing governance, they differed politically with some policies. The differences were too huge to continue having a stable government. So Olaf Scholz called for snap elections this year in hope to change that and in hope to encourage more power to be captured in a way that would now express a better way of governance. Unfortunately, he lost. Now CDU people brought back the belief in CDU, which is led by Friedrich Mark. Initially, by the last person to rule that was Angela Merkel. So for Africa, we have to be very keen on what happens in Germany, because Germany is, by basis, it's Europe. So if Germany imposes a few things that could impact on Africa, whether it's migration, whether it's trade, and whether it's political dalliance, it impact very quickly to Africa, Africa, yeah. NATO is a European outfit that has the America as a member. But Trump was hinting on him leaving NATO and letting Europe do Europe things by Europe themselves. Europe currently is facing a challenge of the unity. Some countries have openly criticized the European Union. Some political outfits in several countries are of the idea that it should be disbanded. AFD was very clear with its campaign strategy saying that Germany gets out of European Union and so many other countries in Europe. And then they form something called the European Nations League, or something of the sort, instead of the European Union. They wanted the Deutschmark to come back, not the euro. The same has happened in Britain, England. They left the European Union. The famous Brexit. Now they are operating on their own, not as Europe. So between now and the next political governance of Germany, Africa is watching keenly the decisions that will be made on one, the grand coalition to govern Germany for the next period of years, and two, the policies that were being used during campaign periods and how they will impact Africa and African relationship with both Germany and Europe. We could easily say we have a stake, but what Germany does or is about to do in relation to Europe, the immigration crisis also falls squarely on the shoulders of Africa, apart from the Middle East. A lot of Africans have been crossing, going to Europe as the illegal immigrants, not just in Germany alone. So if Germany has a strong voice towards that activity, how will it impact on Africa? What are the Africans leadership and the people thinking about the European Union and Germany? Is Germany getting better in terms of African relations? What does Africa stand to gain out of the elections and the governance that will happen in Germany? What does Africa stand to lose? Those are the questions that are in the minds of so many Africans. Let me hear from your comments. What are your initial thoughts of what is happening? It is my first vlog. I intend to be a little bit more clearer. I know my lighting is not very good because I'm just using my phone. But with your support, we can help grow this channel. My name is Ken Waudo. I am a political scientist and a social engineer. So therefore, I want to offer solutions to global problems. I want to offer solutions to African problems from my point of understanding, from the point of understanding in Africa, and how or what we have learned before, what we might use that to create a better tomorrow. So please follow me, subscribe, and support me greatly if you can. Thank you for watching up to this point. See you in the next vlog.